In this field, we are evaluating different regenerative practices to restore the capacity of this soil to levels similar to where it was when we start farming. But in many cases, we really have the opportunity to increase even further the potential of these soils to maintain high yielding crops that we are growing today. When we think about soil fertility, we often emphasize the chemistry of the soil and the presence of those nutrients in the soil. However, the access and availability of those nutrients really depends on other factors, such as the biology and the soil physical properties. Soil physical properties will allow for those roots to access nutrients and water, and the biology of the soils will really help us break down residue and cycle the nutrients and put it in a more available form for the crops. Perhaps the main one that we often think about is nitrogen, but many other macro and micronutrients are also affected by this process of biology in the soil. There are many benefits from the implementation of regenerative soil management practices. As an agronomist, we often think first about the input use efficiency, such as fertilizers, as well as water use efficiency. By minimizing soil erosion and runoff, we are keeping most of the fertilizer in the fields and available to the crop. And by taking carbon from the atmosphere and putting it in soil organic matter, we're also feeding the microbes and increasing the overall health of that soil. Also, how we can maintain and increase yields over time. Another key benefit is the resiliency of these soils and the yield stability, maintaining yields over time when we have changes in environments such as drought and high rainfall in some years. This field has been under no-till system and integrating cover crops for multiple years now. We can see some of the differences here and some of the effects in terms of soil physical properties and the biology. With the recent rains we have, you can see this field have moisture, basically the entire profile, and maintaining that moisture with a good residue cover. We can also see some of the earthworms working here, basically creating some of these channels where water can move through and capture as much of that rain as possible. However, there are other components that we're not able to see necessarily, which is bacteria and fungi, which also play a big role in terms of decomposing residue and cycling the nutrients back and making it available for the crops. We have a field here next where we have conventional tillage currently, and we can go and make that comparison compared to what we just saw here. This field just across the road has been under conventional tillage with a couple passes of tillage already last fall and this spring. And you can see right away it's dry on top with the same amount of rain we got. Obviously, no soil structure. You can see some of the basically dry pieces of essentially bricks like forming in this soil. You can see the surface of these soils basically form a crust, basically minimizing water infiltration, very different to what we saw in the other field. And as we saw in the previous field, we have some excellent residue cover, but here we can really see the effect in terms of root development, especially when we are combining different species of cover crops in some of these fields. Let's go ahead and dig here to see how is this root developing and what it looks like. You can see here some of the root system going deeper in the soil, and again obviously helping us improve the overall physical properties of this soil that again improve the fertility over time, access to nutrients, but also capturing moisture in our environments here. So we're seeing today the differences between regenerative soil management practices, including no-till systems, more intense and diverse crop rotation with cover crops, and the benefits in terms of soil fertility, soil physical properties, and the biology. The main benefits in the farm is really the increased use efficiency of inputs such as fertilizer, water use efficiency, and maintain and increase yields over time. Versus a system like this, conventional tillage, where we have high risk of losing a lot of those fertilizers that we are applying through erosion and runoff. And of course, we are not maintaining the moisture that we are getting through precipitation.